Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Thank you all for your attendance. Grace, could I call upon you to open the meeting with the karakia, please?
I nui tātou. I te atu e nui ana mātou ki a koe, e arahina mātou, e awhinatia mātou I ngā wākato. O koe hoki e orane e manane ai ne ākine. Āmene. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the gathering that we have come together under the Raupo Drainage Board. We ask that we use this time to make sound decisions for the benefit of our community. We ask that you look over those that are heavy burden and the loss of one of our queer in our community, Claire Hollenberg. We ask that you put your aroha of love around her and those that are ill at this time. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Grace. Item 1.2, apologies. We have full attendance today and no apologies received or necessary. Item 1.3, confirmation of this morning's agenda. In light of some new information, we've been informed that the item 3 will be withdrawn from the agenda, and I'll just have to Anand to that.
Yep. Thank you, Chair. Look, in light of some new information I received last night, which may change the recommendations as outlined in the paper, understanding orders, I'd like to withdraw item 3. Lana?
Yes, sorry, through the Chair, understanding orders 9.9. The lead officer of the meeting and acting on behalf of the Chief Executive can withdraw an item from the agenda if there's a justified circumstance. And I think the fact that you can't put forward a recommendation today is a justified circumstance. Thanks.
Okay. I'd like to move the revised agenda for today's meeting. A second for that, please.
I second that.
Grace? All those in favour?
Aye.
Against?
Well, I haven't found it yet.
Carried. Item 1.4, conflict of interest declaration. I wish to declare my conflict as per stated with just a slight change of wording. I am currently employed by Kaipara District Council, no longer in a short-term fixed role. Any views expressed by me during this meeting are my personal views only and expressed in my capacity as Chair of the Raupo Drainage Committee and as representative of the Raupo Drainage District Targeted Ratepayers. The opinions and views expressed by me are not in my capacity as an employee of Kaipara District Council and are not necessarily the opinions of my employer or the elected members of the council. This conflict has also been declared with KDC. Are there any other conflicts in relation to today's agenda? No? Thank you. Item 2, to confirm the minutes of the meeting held 2nd of May 2024. Would someone like to move that the minutes of that meeting are a true and correct record, please?
I'll move in that direction.
Moved Grace, seconded Brian Madsen. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Carried. Moving directly to item 4. Raupo Drainage Operations Report. We call upon Wayne. Wayne, could you come forward and present first, please?
I'd like to present the operations report for this quarter. Compliance and safety, there were no issues to report. Floodgates, floodgate number 5, Mabbott, has had the floodgate access way removed and refurbished. Safety rails fitted, winch supports have been replaced, winch service, deck timber replaced, and the assembly sandblasted. Painted, this has been reinstalled. Number 1, floodgate has had the door face timbers replaced. This has proved difficult for low tide water level due to high silting in the outlets. Debris removal has been completed in the floodgates. Number 1, Muddy Mouth, 5, Mabbott, 38, Boat Marina, and water intrusion on floodgate 59, Bellamy, but no fault was found. Number 1, Muddy Mouth had 1 broken shackle, which was replaced on the west gate. Floodgate 39 has had new stainless steel door support brackets fitted. Concrete epoxy repairs were made to the head wall area, and door support brackets were bolted to this. Door lift chains were reconnected. Barfoot Construction have completed work on floodgate 50, which is a triple gate system. The door lift beams have been rust treated and painted. Door lift supports have been replaced, and Crompton Engineering fitted a new spare door, and the other doors to be refurbished. A new floodgate has been installed on the Gent stop bank, a new stop bank, as the works progress. This has been installed to replace a floodgate, which a private floodgate, which is on the outer bank, and will be commissioned when it is required. Consent has been obtained for this. Barfoot Construction have commenced work on the new G Canal floodgate project. To date, access roads and hard stand area for works have been completed. A few new floodgate number 51 has been installed to align with the new G Canal gate system. Machine cleaning has been completed on drain number 33, Mitchell Road by Gavin Jennings. Machine cleaning is presently underway on Whitcomb Road number 13, Ramsey through to Stanaway, and the machine cleaning on Lower Cape Canal with the lorries is due to commence when machines are available. Planned machine cleaning works this last quarter have not been completed due to contractors being committed with the Gent stop bank job. Drain spraying, the Raupo spray contract season has been completed with close to the budget of $121,059. Additional day works were completed, spraying the front section 150 Wallace Road, where we removed the Phoenix Palms, and also spraying Pampas on the corner of Wallace Road and State Highway 12. Stop bank works, work continues on the Gent stop bank. Areas of land on the site stripped back for fill have been reinstated with topsoil and undersown and regrassed. Work completed on K Canal stop bank have also been sprayed and undersown and regrassed. Pumps, the Wallace Road flood pump has had the power take-off yard fitted, and grease lines. The electric motor has been refitted to the pump, and power take-off gearbox assembly will require a mounting bracket to be stored in the pump shed this next quarter. Activities for next quarter, we have a fit of stormwater grate for 38 Freiburg Road. This has been completed. Machine clean part of drain number 38. Fit access safety rails for floodgate number 39, which is Wilson Landing Road. Complete our floodgate inspections and works on the G Canal project. Stop banks, there's been no further work on stop bank restatement apart from the new Gent stop bank. Cleaning, as I said, Whitcomb Road underway. There's 49, drain 49, some slips in G Canal which require a long reach. 45 Wilson Landing Road requires cleaning. 53, we want some repair to an internal stop bank, which is down the Floodgate Road area. And 55 wants machine cleaning and may require some spray access. K Canal machine clean below State Highway 14 requires a long reach digger. And that's all for the report.
Thank you, Wayne. Are there any questions from members in regards to that report? Further clarification? I'll just make one note in the floodgate section with reference to the work being done at floodgate 39. That's actually at the end of Westlake Road.
Yep.
As opposed to Wilson Landing. Just a location change there. That work is still to be completed, is that correct, Wayne? Yeah, thank you.
Maybe I could ask, do we know if we've got a completion date for the big job on our place?
Not as yet. Yeah, it's been some certain delays with weather, etc. But the safety rails, we're undertaking a program we're just identifying the highest risk ones and just addressing health and safety concerns around some of the access points to some of these floodgates. So we are addressing those in a just a methodical manner. You know, we're just chipping our way through them to just alleviate some of the risks with access to some of those gates in particular. I would like to note that the pump work completion with the power takeoff, etc., basically completes all of the items from the Cyclone Gabrielle report tabled by myself a year or so back. All of the items that were within the mandate of the Drainage Committee to be completed have been completed. So the only outstanding issues in regards to the cyclone report or the cyclone impacts report are the items that sit outside the mandate of this committee to be completed and sit with KDC in reference to LTP planning, etc.
Can I just ask a question?
Yes, Grace.
Wayne, is about gate 1, and in your report you talk about it's hard to get to it because it's silty. How can we
Floodgate number 1, Muddy Mouth, what we have done, we've had a boat in there with a tractor rim, so we've been trying to tow it up and down to loosen the mud, but also we have been alternating the gates, opening one side and opposite sides, so it's actually starting to sluice out with the weather, so it is an issue, but we certainly loosened it up a bit with the boat.
and how is work going down there at Coalfire? Down by the
With Barber Construction,
yeah.
yeah, the new floodgate, so they've got the road in the Hartful area and they've installed one new floodgate.
Couple.
What was the reason for the silting?
It's just one gradual build-up of, yeah, same as Auckland area, it's just,
Lack of water flow.
yeah, it's just,
Yeah, primarily the issue with its area of siltation at number 1, that's the issue. It's right on the outfall, the low tide outfall.
Okay.
So it's inaccessible, mechanically inaccessible. So we've done a little bit of dredging work and doing sluice operations with the floodgate at the moment. Now we've got some good flow, so we are seeing an improvement, and we're just going to monitor the next big drying tide. We've got young Joseph is going to go and inspect it via the boat just to see what improvements have actually occurred. We haven't actually had a decent drying tide in the last 2 months, basically, or 6 weeks. One that's dried enough to do a visual inspection. So we're confident we are getting on top of it. It's just it is a challenging environment.
Chairman.
Mark, sorry.
I do seek your forbearance because I'm a bit slow out of the blocks. The question might have been more appropriate at the time when we were settling on our agenda. Like, this is an important issue which we have crossed off for this meeting, but I'm got to thinking it could be another 3 months before we find out another update. So I'm just wondering, what are the prospects of the committee being informed of a revised or updated report? Just so we have a handle on, like, it could be good news, could be bad news.
Alana, can I? We have the option to, I guess.
Resolve to have an extraordinary meeting.
We can just circulate the report
Yeah,
as soon as it's available, or?
through you, Chair, my expectation is that we'll spend August completing the post-implementation review, which hasn't been started, but I think in light of further information, we need to revisit that and finish that and bring the committee members on board as we finish that post-implementation review. the aim would be to have an extraordinary meeting probably towards the end of August, so that we can then do the September timetable with council. So between now and the end of August, or finish the post review, have an extraordinary meeting of this committee to then make a recommendation going into the September agendas for the council reports.
The only thing that's missing there is we've also got to finish the project, haven't we? That's
correct. Right, yeah. So maybe Barry and Wayne, if you can sort of give us a bit of an update on where we think we're going to.
That's why I asked the question earlier around the completion date for the project.
I don't have it. Barry,
Well, if it's okay with you, Chair, bring Barry into.
yeah, Barry, could you address,
operations report.
please, on the matter of the question? It is the intention of the chair to once all of the relevant information has come through, to call an extraordinary meeting for the purpose of expediting the procedure. I don't want to see this protracted out for another 3 months. But in light of information that's come through, as we alluded to, there's just not enough information at the moment.
Just through your Chair, we're asking Barry just high level completion date. We're not going to dive into the reports being withdrawn.
Yeah, at this stage, the completion date, we're looking at potentially at the middle of August. I've got approval from Regional Council to carry on working through the winter because we're outside the original consent conditions. I've had a meeting with the landowner this afternoon. There's some issues he wants me to address in conjunction with him in a walkabout. And then we'll see how we tackle it from there. It may be possibly that we may need to do some work in the summer. You know, it's becoming difficult, as you can imagine, with some of the wet conditions we had to try and complete some of this work. So we're just trying to scope out what's required and what's still incumbent on the contractor to actually complete. And then we can go from there. But at this stage, we're trying to complete everything as far as we can by the middle of August.
Thank you.
I think what sends me alarms is budget. And
Yeah, Grace, we've actually withdrawn that item, so we'll stick to the agenda that's in front of us. There will be more information coming to light at a later date.
okay,
Is there any further questions on the operational? Thank you, Barry. Is there any further questions on the operational report? Would someone like to move that the Raupo drainage operations report for July be accepted? Dave Hart, seconder, please. Greg Gent. All those in favour? Aye.
I,
Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 5, Raupo drainage financial report. Andrew, could I ask you to come and speak to this report, please?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Good morning, everyone. I'll take the report largely as read. However, I'll note some highlights and some aspects of it. Just noting that the report is as of the end of as at 31 May 2024, which is obviously month 11 of the financial year that's just finished. The June picture we're still working on as part of our overall financial accruals and adjustments for our year-end process. At a high level, the accumulated surplus at 31 May was $754,000. Obviously, that's dropped slightly from what we carried over into the current year due to obviously spending some of our prior year multi-year project spends there. The other aspect I'd just like to draw your attention to is the second attachment, which just highlights how we've set the rate for 2025, 2026 and 2027 in our recently adopted long-term plan. Hopefully that is fairly self-explanatory, but I'm happy to take questions on that and any other items within the report. Thank you.
So one question I've got, Chair, we've got project number 2 underway, which is a major project as well.
Yes.
Just blank hat it for a minute. That goes pear-shaped as well. Where does the liability financially sit for that?
through your chair, I don't think it would be appropriate to hypothesise if it's going to go pear-shaped.
Yeah.
All that the information at the moment is indicating that it will. And with respect to the project costs, obviously it's co-funded as well. So I think we'll have to address that concern
Just if we,
when it's highlighted to us.
okay, so just, can I just understand co-funded, what that means? I'm sorry, I feel again, it's one we've,
Which one are you talking about? Which project is
I'm
it?
talking about down here to co-funded.
The G Canal
Canal.
project.
So-
So I understood that was fully externally funded.
Yes, you're right, sorry, it is fully externally funded.
There's no co-funding element to
Yeah,
that.
sorry,
project.
my apologies. Yeah.
So at some point, can we have that formally, this committee?
Kia ora. Tō.
What would you like? Would you like a paper just
I'd just like a paper, something that I've got, something I can put my hand on to say this is outside of our remit and we have no liability associated with it.
Yep, we can outline a paper. Yep, we can do.
Do you require a motion to that effect?
We can minute that. Just
Minute it.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Any other questions in relation to the financial report?
I have one question just to help my understanding of things. Just looking on the second section, the maintenance direct costs decline through the years, and I'm wondering, is that at all related to the installation of a new K canal top bank, floodgate? So that would be less area of top bank.
Are you referring to K Canal or G Canal?
Which is going first?
G Canal is happening as we speak. That project's underway. K Canal is.
Right, now it's G Canal, but I just, is it as a consequence of that being completed, that we could expect some operating costs to reduce? One would hope.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had any direct input as to what the LTP projections for rating, Andrew. I did look at that myself. We have a projected maintenance cost increase, and then it is gradually tapering off. What's the methodology behind the assumed lower operating costs year on year?
So through the chair on that one, we've got an approach has been taken here across all of our land drainage districts that the rate stays the same for the time being. We do have opportunities in years 2 and year 3 with our annual plan process that if things, if unexpected adjustments need to be made, we can make them then. But at the moment, you'll note that the maintenance and direct costs declines in line with the increase in the funded depreciation. So we've largely kept the collection of the rates at the same level. So through either depreciation collection and the maintenance, we're collecting the same level of rate while we eat into that surplus that we're carrying. So rather than lift the rate initially, the strategy was to deplete the surplus as we go before making adjustments to the rate. Hopefully that makes sense. Sorry, my computer just locked me out halfway through there.
Thank you.
Answer your question, Mark? Okay.
Chair, just one, appreciation. We don't straight line that. Notes that talk to valuations. So do we actually?
Yeah, so there's 2 aspects to that. Obviously, the funded depreciation is what we put in the rate for, for future replacement of assets and future renewal of assets. My note in that one is that at this stage, we've had to make an estimate at roughly, we fully fund depreciation across our land drainage as well as our 3 water assets. So we've had to make an estimate in the LTP at what the depreciation charge will actually be. And so the depreciation charge is based on the future replacement value of our assets, their estimated life remaining, what it would cost to replace them, etc. So that there is based on what we know at the time. Through our preliminary valuations, it's looking like the valuations are going to increase because things are getting more expensive, labour in the future is getting more expensive, etc. So we adjust our funded depreciation each year. So that 58, 67, 77 represents what we think the depreciation cost on our assets will be at the time we set it. And so obviously want to collect that to put it into the depreciation reserve to make sure we have something there for when those assets require replacing. So in short, it's a little bit of an estimate, but the actual science behind the valuation of assets is underway with our valuers at the moment. So we can walk through that at some point.
Thank you, Andrew.
Boring accounting question, but obviously.
Yeah, if it was ever helpful, I mean, the committee will have a fairly good idea when you talk about largely floodgates, I think that's pumps and, but if that's ever helpful.
Yeah.
When you have a schedule, we probably could spend a bit of time on it and might provide, because it's a hellishly important number.
Yeah, we're happy to, once we have that, we're happy to walk through it. Yeah.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. I've just got a question in the discussion paragraphs. First point, rates less operating capital costs for the 11 months to the year has resulted in a net deficit of $170,000. And the point below that, operating costs are below budget so far, largely due to an underspend. So from that, can I assume that the $170,000 deficit is a result of capital costs?
That's right. So we've got obviously some capital projects underway that were rated for in prior financial years. So that's obviously coming out of the accumulated surplus. Sorry, that light there is coming out of the accumulated surplus rather than out of the rates in the current year. So it does show, if you take rates and total revenue less total expenditure and capex, it is a deficit. However, that's to be expected because we're using that accumulated surplus of, we started the year at 950 something thousand, sorry, 923,000. We are, some of our capital projects underway are using that rather than rates collected in the current year.
Okay.
So therefore income less expense is obviously a deficit.
Is the breakdown of that capex expenditure, where is that? Is it that note 4 with the capex analysis?
Yep. So you can see we've got the two large projects there. One is totally offset by external funding, which is the one we spoke of earlier. And the other one is funded from within this district. So it's funded from rates collected in the current year, rates accumulated from prior years.
This would be the item marked note 6 in that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Sorry, noting that also that project has some external funding as well now.
Yes. And so for clarity, we're at the completion of that particular project, we should be able to see a more concise breakdown of what implications are in relation to that particular project.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. No, that's... Are there any further questions from the committee around the financial report? I just would list, this is just an observational, it's a comment. It was noted, I've just raised the operating costs below budget so far to the underspend on maintenance. We have had a history in the last 2-3 years of underspending. Primarily we had, going back to the 2023 year with the atrocious weather, cyclone, etc., that actually physically curtailed the works. And some of the operating underspend for the previous financial year is due to contractor availability, physical ability to actually do some of the underspend. So there will be a reflection when we return to normal operating circumstances, that there will be potentially in this financial year, there will be the recoup of that, the backup of that the maintenance deficit, if you like, with basically where catch-up works. So there will be the signalling that we may get to a point where we have an operational overspend in relation to budget, purely just to get ourselves back on track with our maintenance program, which certainly items that are coming in the next quarter, but there's a bit of catch-up work to be done once everything gets back on track. So I'm just signalling that now, so there's no surprises come this time next year that we actually have a maintenance overspend. Because there is certainly a lot of work to catch up on. Any further questions in relation to this report, financial report? No. I would like to move that we, sorry.
Through the chair, Andrew, you can.
Oh, sorry, and thank you for your presentation, Andrew. I'd like to move that we accept the Raupo Drainage Financial Report for July 2024. Have a second of that, please. Brian Madsen. All those in favour? Aye? Against? Carried. Thank you. So with that, that's at the end of the agenda. Now, not to. Grace, could I just ask you to close us out with a closing karakia, please?
Ia ni o tātou. Kia tātou katoa te atu whai o tō tātou ariki e ihi karaiti. Me te aroha o te atua, me te whiwhina tautanga ki te wairua tapu. Aki tōnu, āmeni.
Amen. Got it, Grace. With that, I will declare the meeting closed. Thank you all for your attendance today and your input. Most valued and appreciated. Thank you.